Ladies and gentlemen, gals and pals, holes and poles, welcome. I'm your host, the Armchair Grump, and I'm bringing you some more Magic the Gathering Arena. As you can see here, we're going to be doing some pack openings today, and hopefully the next video is going to be some draft March of the Machine. So let's just hop right into it. We actually got our packs already. We're not going to be buying anything. Our packs are going to be off of ones that we've gotten from our, I guess, is it Season Pass? Is it Set Pass? I don't know. Mastery, I think it's called here. And actually, I'm not sure if we want to. We might go ahead and do it anyways. We'll see how far we can get in. We'll have one more week after this one, it looks like, right? As we're coming up here on the weekend to get pretty far in here. And we've unlocked quite a bit of stuff. So we might just go ahead and unlock this set mastery, as we're going to have enough gems. And we're pretty close here. Yeah, we're pretty close here to getting these four cards. Yeah. It's not bad. We're getting pretty close. So we're pretty close to the end of this set mastery. I mean, we'll miss out on a little bit of stuff, but it's not that big of a deal. I guess we'll be getting most of the rewards. I said we'll be getting most of the rewards. We'll be missing out only on a few. Yeah, and if we keep playing every day. So, yeah, we're probably going to get that. So we'll have some more packs to open here in the future. You know, there's 400 gems right there. How many gems do you get back total here? Let's see real quick. 400. 800. 1,200. So you only get 1,200 back? Interesting. Yeah, you only get 1,200. Interesting. All right, but there are multiple ways to earn gems in this, which I think it's not a bad way to do it. So let's go ahead and go to the pack opening. It is March of the Machine, so I don't know what the next set is, but whatever the next set is, that'll be coming up pretty soon. It is crazy how fast sets come out these days. Like, is it every 3 months or so? Every 2.5 months? It's something fast. All right, let's crack into it. Crack those packs. I love the arts on these ones. I love whatever that is. I don't even know what card that is, to be fair. It's like a tax. Is that Jin Kataxis? It's gotta be Jin, right? All right, pack one. We have gotten quite a few of the cards in this set so far, but as you can see, there's still a lot of cards we haven't got. But we're still missing quite a few rares and a couple of the mythics. So we are looking for those. I don't even know what they are yet, but hopefully we'll get some here. I've almost got a playset of a couple of them. So I've got 3 of the shark card that gives you the Phyrexian incubate. It's the one that whenever you cast non-creature spells, you get an incubate, and then also the Exarch that when it's like XX white or something, and you incubate X twice or something. I don't know. It's the white Exarch, or not Exarch. Exarch? I don't know. We got a couple that we almost got a playset of, so we are cracking through this set and getting quite a few of the cards already. So, all right. So this is the first one of this one. Our first common is Sworn Cavalier, 1 and a white. Has first strike as long as another knight enter the battlefield under your control this turn. That's an interesting knight one. It's a pauper one. I like having knights, and like knights used to be. We didn't used to have too many lower cost knights, and now we're getting quite a few. Soldiers were usually on the lower cost end, but giving it first strike, 3/1 for 2, but then first strike if another knight enters that turn, it's not bad. I don't know how well it's going to be for pauper. I've seen this in the tokens deck, surprisingly. It simply because it has Convoke, so you can tap out for everything. But I definitely think this is going to be good for artifact pauper. All right, so nope. This is the Halo Hopper. Yeah, I really want to try that in pauper artifacts. Traumatic Revelation, 1 and a black, sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a creature or battle card from it. If you do, that player discards this card. If you don't, incubate 3. I think I've said this in the past. This is an interesting card, having kind of modal. You can still look at their hand both ways, creature or battle. So it's like getting, so you can, like, it's a kill spell, but you have to get it in their hand. You also can get rid of battles. I think this isn't bad even for Pauper, but then also it's hard. It's token production in black. So it produces artifacts, and it also produces, but it also produces tokens, like creature tokens and like artifact tokens. So this is an interesting card, and it's also, like I said, it's Pauper. I'm interested in the card. I'd like to see how it does, specifically in Pauper. I think it has some possible uses. But outside of that, I think there might be better. There's probably better things used in. I just saw the name on this one. It's kind of funny. In other stuff. So obviously, like just Duress, Inquisition of Kozilek. There's quite a few things at common and uncommon that are gonna do what you want to do better. But there's not too many modal things at a cheap cost. So this is our first uncommon, Invasion of New Capenna. So this is the first one we gotten of this card. So the battle is black or white-black. When Invasion of New Capenna enters the battlefield, you may sack an artifact or creature. If you do, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls. That's not bad for white or black. So this is not bad for like token stuff. And the fact that a lot of things allow you to sack artifacts now, it's very easy to get treasures and other cheap artifacts. So, and then the Holy Frazzle Cannon on the other side. I just love the name of it. Oh, but then you do 4 damage to the battle side. And then whenever equipped creature attacks, it gives you an equipment. The Holy Frazzle Cannon. When equipped creature attacks, put a 1/1 counter on that creature and each other creature you control that shares a creature type with it. Equip 1. That's not bad. This works very well in a token themed deck. It allows you to sack a cheap token or a treasure or some sort of cheap artifact. Right? Like if you're making 1/1 tokens, like 1/1 flying spirits, or if you're also producing, like I said, like if you're also got a sub theme of producing treasures or clues or something, sacking those tokens to this, to being able to get rid of their get rid of a creature or artifact of theirs. You exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls. Yeah, so that's very useful, especially in black, which has a hard time with artifacts. Obviously, you're black-white, so... But then being able to do 4 damage to it, and then flipping it and being able to turn it into, like, a lord. So if you're, like, producing 1/1 flying spirits... There used to be a black-white, or a white-black, spirit tokens deck, or just a tokens deck, but it produced spirit tokens primarily in Modern. That deck, I think, is no longer, like, good enough. It wasn't, like... It was, like... tier 2, I think, normally anyways, but it was an okay, it was an alright deck. But this, just being able to put 1/1 counters on them is great. And in the equip one, I think this is definitely usable. This looks good. I like it. I like it. Especially if you're producing, like, if you're using, like, I can't remember the card, but it's Lingering Souls. 2 and a white, produce 2 1/1 flying spirit tokens, and then also you can flash back 1 in a black from your graveyard to produce 2 more. So that a lot of times gets put in discard decks so that you can discard it and still have value out of the discard while forcing your opponent to discard as well. Like with Liliana and stuff. Jund likes to use that also. Not Jund. Abzan. But like I said, if you throw this on a spirit and you have a whole bunch of other spirit tokens, you can just start putting counters on them. And if you got flyers, then it's going to be easy to do that 4 damage to this and pump them up. So I like this card. I think this is a very usable card. The front side by itself is pretty good. It's sorcery speed, which sucks, but I still think it's decent. We've already had Invasion of Kamigawa. I don't think this is very good, but let's see. Enters the battlefield, tap target creature, and artifact creature an opponent controls, and put a stun counter. Oh, stun counter. If it would be untapped, remove a stun counter instead. And the flip is when Rooftop Saboteurs, Moonfolk Ninja flying. When Rooftop Saboteur deals combat damage to a player or battle, draw a card. I just think at 4 mana, the front side doesn't do enough. I mean, I feel like it should be like 2 mana. The fact that it taps it and just puts a stun counter on it. It feels 4 mana is way too costly. Alright, our alternate art here is Quindi, Pride of Ephemerith, 3 and a white. Double strike creatures you control with first strike, have double strike. I know there's some people out there with commander decks that are like first strike decks, and this will give them all double strike. So this will definitely work really well. And our rare is Knight Errant of Eos. Actually, this is perfect. I wanted to make the tokens deck, and this is one I don't have to slot in using a rare wild anymore. So hopefully we get some more Knight Errants of Eos. This is one of the ones I really needed. So tokens deck, here we come. This is a great one. 5 mana, 4/4, Convoke. So usually you have like a shit ton of creatures out there already. You just tap all of them for your mana. Instead, you'll tap all your mana for tokens production, and then you'll tap all your tokens to play this. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards to your library, and you may reveal up to two creature cards with mana value X or less from among them, where X is the number of creatures that convoked. Knight Errant of Eos. Put the revealed cards into your hand, then shuffle Eos. This is this is from Shards of Alara. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that. Yeah, Eos. Yeah, this is Shards of Alara. That's cool. The other thing is, so yeah, I really like this card. But the other thing too is it can snag another copy of itself. So the Convoke, you can Convoke. Convoke is taps for a colorless or a color of the mana that card is. So if it's green or white, you can tap, when you tap it, either taps for a colorless or it taps for a green, or, you know, it provides, yeah. So if it's a white card, if it's white creature, it can cover the white cost in the mana. So you can, if you tap 5 creatures, Convoke using tapping 5 creatures, you can snag up to something costing 5, up to 2 things costing 5. That's pretty good. You put them into your hand, obviously, but yeah, that's pretty damn good. I know it kind of takes you down, takes a turn off, but that's pretty good. Being able to replace stuff, but what that allows you to do is like use your guys as mana dorks. Like I said, turn 1, turn 2, like turn 1, play out token production, turn 2, play out token production. Sorry, it sounded, I think outside there was a car going off or something. It sounded like an alarm was going off. And then turn 3, like have enough tokens, or have enough out there to tap this for 5, tap 5 guys out there and be able to snag another one of these or something else that costs less. So I really like this card. I think this is going to be, even in the future, I think this will be a good playable card for this ability. Obviously, it's going to want to play with a lot of being able to play smaller stuff out there. So, yeah, just a second. Okay. I think it's my phone. My phone is running something. So, all right, yeah. So I really like that. I'm glad that we got that. All right, next pack. Like I said, so I hope we get it. We need a play set of those. Really need a play set. This isn't a reprint, right? No. Here's Shield Hoplite. We'll have to see. All right, so it looks like we only got one new card here. For Burning Sun's Fury, 1 red, Convoke. The 2 target creatures each get +2/+own, gain haste till end of turn. A whole bunch of dinosaurs are coming through the Phyrexian portals. That's kind of cool. Furnace Host Charger. I mean, that's not a bad card for 2 mana, and it's got Convoke, so it can even cost less. So if you have a card, especially like if you have creatures with Vigilance, that works very well with Convoke, allowing you to attack with them and tap them for mana. Burning Host Charger, 6 mana for 5/5 haste, mountain cycling 2. This actually, like I said, this might not be bad for Pauper simply because of the mountain cycling. But also, I think this will play well with the, what is it? There's a modern deck that wants to pitch stuff in the graveyard for cheap cycling costs, and this specifically gets you a land if you need it. And then you can bring back all your stuff in your graveyard that you pitched and put it on the battlefield with a little trick. So they play a whole bunch of like cycling 1 and cycling 2 cards, and getting a 5/5 with haste for and allow you to go get yourself a land if you need it is pretty decent. Disturbing Conversion, 1 blue flash enchant creature enters the battlefield. Each player mills 2 cards. Enchant creature gets X -0, where X is the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. I think that's definitely a pauper playable card. I think this is quite usable. There's another one too, though, I think that works a lot better. I think it's in New Capenna. It's 1 blue. I think it's a common. It's 1 blue. It turns the creature. It loses all abilities. It turns it into a green. It's a green and white human citizen or something. A human cat citizen. I can't remember, but it turns it into a 1/1, and they lose all abilities. For 1 blue, and it's an enchantment. That's pretty good. So now that if you really need it to have no attack, then yeah. But otherwise, that just turning it into a 1/1 for 1 blue. Definitely at that. But if you need 2 cards to do something similar, I don't think that's a bad one. Also, if you have a big mill strategy, that could really be. If you're in a mill strategy, that could be quite useful. And the possibility of having no power is pretty good. Temporal Cleansing, 3 in a blue. Convoke the owner of target non-land permanent, puts it on into their library, second from the top or bottom. This actually isn't bad, like I said, for Convoke. There is to set adrift has, what is it? Now that has Delve, what it does. So you can, Delve is pretty decent, but if you're running a very heavy creature themed deck, then the Convoke might be easier to do versus if you're playing a sorcery deck. So I can't remember if Delve puts it on bottom or puts it on top. I said that wrong. I don't know if Set Adrift. I can't remember if I just said if Delve puts it on. I can't remember if Set Adrift puts it on top or bottom or where it puts it, to be fair. So I'd have to compare this to Set Adrift, because some people put Set Adrift either as a one-of card into some decks or in a sideboard. All right, so our first uncommon that we haven't seen a copy of yet is Phyrexian Awakening, 2 and a white. When it enters the battlefield, incubate 4. Phyrexians you control have vigilance. All right, so it's a pump, or I mean, it's an ability card for Phyrexians. Kind of like this card. It's kind of weird what's going on in the picture. I don't know, like in the background, like, are they floating? I don't know. I'd have to take a closer look, but it's hard to zoom in. 2 and a white, enters the battlefield, incubate 4, so you get, okay, you get a token off of it that you can activate. And Phyrexians you control have vigilance. This will give you, so if you have blink triggers, some blinking triggers, this one's an interesting one. I don't think, if it did something else, like give them +1/+0, I think it'd be better, like, it'd be more abusable, being able to produce yourself a 5/4 token, and giving all your other Phyrexians +1/+0, but, I don't know. The vigilance, maybe not. But unless there's a Phyrexian that can blink stuff, if there is a Phyrexian that can blink stuff that allows you to blink your permanents, they give you incubate tokens and let you do stuff like that. So like if it could blink an enchantment or just blink the non-land permanents for a relatively low cost, then I can see like a deck maybe wanting this. Giving your stuff vigilance, but also being able to get a 4/4 token. I know you got to pay 2 to transform it, but being able to get 4/4 tokens at a relatively low, a decent cost, even at like 3 mana or like 2 or 3 mana, like blink target Phyrexian, like exile target Phyrexian, return to the battlefield at your end step, or exile target, something. Then maybe, but I don't know if there is. But I like things that are abusable, because getting a token that turns into a 4/4 for 3 mana that you can abuse is something I like. So I like it, but I'm not sure it has a place. So all right, so we have a copy of this, but I think this is a new one. I know there's some other hoplites out there that's a red white, but I don't think So this one, Mirror Shield Hoplite. I don't think this is a reprint from another set, is it? I think this is specifically a new card. The other one that I can think of produces tokens or gets 1/1 counters. I can't remember. So Mirror Shield Hoplite, red, white, Vigilance 2/2. When a creature you control becomes a target of a backup. Oh, right, the backup ability. Copy that ability. You may choose new targets for that copy. This ability triggers only once each turn. Yeah, this is specifically for the backup ability, so no, I don't think this is a reprint. This one's interesting. I don't think the backup ability is that powerful, so I don't think this is going to be seeing that much play. At least I haven't seen the backup ability, like cards with a whole bunch of really good backup abilities. So I love this alternate art of Yargle. He's eating something. I don't know what, though. And this is one I probably want to get for I want to get a real copy of this, so I like the pane glass look. All right, our rare is Boonbringer Valkyrie. I think we have a copy of this already. So 5 mana for backup 1, so it gets a 1/1. Yeah, it gets a 1/1 counter, but then it also gets flying, first strike, and lifelink. So you can turn it into a 5/5. You know, the funny thing is, if you added protection from demons and from dragons on this, then it's Baneslayer Angel. So all you had to do was take protection from demons and from angels off of it, and then it's a rare instead of a mythic. Don't get me wrong, pro demons and angels, I mean demons and dragons, can be very it can be very important at times. But that was just kind of like extra. It's like jam, like if you're having like jam toast, like putting the butter, I don't know, if you're like having like jelly on your toast and then then putting a little bit of melted butter on there, it's just kind of like that extra. The flying first light strike and lifelink, but the fact that you can also use the backup, I guess it really shows cards are kind of powered up. This either can be a 5/5 for 5 that gives you flying first strike, lifelink, just a slightly downgraded like I said, I can't even remember the name of the card now. Yeah, Demon Slayer Angel. Yeah. From M10, that that card used to be really expensive. Everybody was all over that card. Best card ever. But then also the ability that you could put the backup on another creature, give it flying for strike and lifelink for that turn. So I like this card. It's not bad, but in this kind of pushed environment versus other cards, I don't know if it has a place. I don't know if it has a place even in something, say, like blue, because the other one, Demon Slayer, or not Demon Slayer, Baneslayer. Baneslayer Angel had a slot in control decks where that was the card you had ways to bring it back from the graveyard with or back to your hand. I can't remember, with Cruel Ultimatum, and it was your finisher. You would deal with all their shit on the board, get rid of it, and then you'd slam out a Baneslayer with protection, with counter spells in hand and removal spells in hand, and just and then beat face, and hopefully within 4 turns, you had done 20 damage to them. So, but I just don't know in this environment if that's the kind of. There's so many planeswalkers and stuff now in blue-white control, and there's just so much mass removal, and they play things. What do they play? They really don't play big. They don't tend to play like a creature. Like they don't right now. They don't play the Torrential Gear Hulk as their finisher. They don't play. I think they maybe play the land that turns into the 7/7 giant kind of as a finisher. They play the land, yeah. I still like it though. I still like it. I think it'll eventually find a home somewhere. Otherwise, unfortunately, it'll turn just kind of into a dead rare. Just to think though, it's a slightly altered version of Baneslayer, and just a slightly altered version of Baneslayer and what it does, and even possibly has potential to be more useful than Baneslayer at some times in a larger creature deck, and that's just not good enough nowadays. All right, next pack, pack 3, March of the Machine. What is the machine though? I wasn't paying it not paying attention, but I don't know the story. So what is the machine? Is there a card for the machine? Blossoming Sands. Is this the first one we've actually gotten? All right, it's just one of the dual color. I actually like the art on this. It's one of the dual color lands. Commons. Enters the battlefield, tap, gain a life. It's green-white. Nothing to call home about, just a reprint. I don't know if this is the first time they've been printed in here, though. So that might be. Wildward Escort, 5 mana for a 3/3 Elf Warrior. ETBs, return a target creature or battle card from your graveyard to your hand. If it would die, exile it instead. That way you can't keep cycling them. I really wish that you could cycle them. On a death trigger, you could... I mean, when there's no death trigger. It's just when you played the next Wildwood Escort, you could return a Wildwood Escort to your hand. If you had 2 of them, you had, like, not a combo, but a little cycle going. But unfortunately, you can't. Not bad, though, for 5 mana. 3/3 for 5. That lets you return something to your hand from the graveyard. Consuming Aetherborn. 4 magic. 2/2. Backup 1 lifelink. Aetherborn Vampire. Unfortunately, don't think it's going to see much play. Important Tracker. I think this is going to be decent in something. Untapping target land. This works great with, obviously it's going to be in Commander, with some land decks, with the Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. Again, I have no idea why this is not in the, I don't know why they play, I don't know why they don't play this alongside either Lana or Elvish Mystic in the Storm the Festival deck, or play this instead, just so that being able to use this to untap Nykthos early game if you don't have Kiora or another, like, being able to just constantly untap. But I don't know. This will be used somewhere, but also then the fact that you have an additional option of adding the battle you're defending, being able to put counters on it or remove counters from a battle that you're trying to attack is pretty good. So, all right, our first uncommon is, down here. Another Invasion of Kamigawa. Unfortunately, like I said, I just don't think it's going to be good. At 4 mana for that front side, it just doesn't do enough. Now, how about this? Human Knight. Ooh. I don't think I've seen this one before. Marshal of Zalfir. White-blue, 2/2. Other knights you control get +1/+1. Interesting. Got to splash a little blue, but a Knight Lord for 2. That's nice. And then white and a blue, tap. I wish it was white and a blue, tap target knight, tap another target creature. But it only works for itself. Yeah, if it's a tap target knight, then I'd be like all over this. But I mean, just a Knight Lord with an additional ability. This has an additional ability, unlike some of the other ones from Ixalan, which is just like the Merfolk one just says Merfolks get +1/+1, and the Vampire ones. I don't think they have anything additional, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since I looked at them. So, but the fact that it has something additional is really nice. All right, and then we got our alternate. Why can't I not say alternate? Our alternate art card. Dan, something about that is just so hard on my tongue right now. I can't curve my tongue in the right way. Alternate art card. There we go. Wrath. Weatherlight Stalwart. I want to say Stewart, but Stalwart. I mean, we've got a couple copies of this already. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. If you do, draw a card, and then 5 mana creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance till end of turn. That's not bad. The instant and sorceries, it's weird. The instant and sorceries tapping 2 untapped creatures. So you want creatures on the field, but you also want to be playing instants and sorceries. I don't know. It's a weird one, but I guess it could work. I definitely seen this being as a fun little thing to slot in somewhere in Commander, but I don't know if it would have a home anywhere else. Obviously, I think this would have a home somewhere. Knights could possibly be a thing again. Some blue-white knights, maybe an explorer. There's a lot of good knight things. I think we played in we have the Dominaria set. Oops, did I just knock over my water? If we go back, if we have some of the other cards from the original Dominaria, not the original, but when we went back to Dominaria not too long ago, being able to have there's all those night token producers, Banalish Marshal, which gives all your creatures +1/+1. Then you have the thing, I can't remember what it's called. There's the saga that gives you 2/2 knights for 2 turns, and then it gives you like all your knights +2/+1. There's a lot of things out there that do knights, give them bonuses. So I would like to see an interesting knight deck instead of like we have humans. We have humans. We just kind of have white weenie stuff, but like a knight theme would be cool. All right, so our rare is Into the Fire. I don't think this is our first one of this. 2 in a red sorcery. Choose one. Into the Fire deals 2 damage to each creature, planeswalker, and battle. I wish it said and battle you don't control. Why does it also hit like if you're defending one? That sucks. Put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, then draw that many cards +1. That kind of sucks because there are other versions of cards that do this, but they're instant. But I don't think there's any cards that do both of these. But unfortunately, it's sorcery. If this was instant, I'd say this was good. Being sorcery really, really reduces the value of this. Because there's things at instant speed that let you burn 2 damage to each thing, and then there's also things at instant speed that let you ditch your hand and draw that many cards +1 at instant speed. I think Valakut's Awakening is one of those cards. I can't. I mean, there are strategies that'll use this, but it would just be like I said. There's the separate parts of this card have instant speed versions, just not glued together. So I can see like it. I think it being instant speed would make it extremely powerful. It'd just be very powerful. But I don't know. I don't know if you want to play just both versions like this and Valakut, Valakut's Awakening, or if since Valakut's Awakening I believe is instant speed, if you just want to play that over Into the Fire. So I'm just not sure about this one. If that instant speed is just so much more valuable that if the deck is looking for, because that other mode on there, being able to get rid of the creatures if they're X2s, is it's good alternate mode if you're trying to set up some sort of combo or some sort of piece. If you're digging through your deck and if there's something you're looking for. So I like the card. I just don't know if there's other things that are better at what it's trying to do. If it's the fact that it's trying to do more than one thing. When a card tries to focus on doing one thing, usually it can be a better card because it gets to do it at a faster speed, it gets to do it at a reduced cost. But the more you try to staple onto the card, they slow down how fast, like the speed of going from instant to sorcery. They increase the cost of the card, that kind of stuff. So I'm just not sure. I'll be fair. I'm just not sure. Because Valakut's Awakening gets played, and there's some other cards of the similar sort that get played that pitch your hand and draw cards. But I just don't know at sorcery speed if it's what they want. All right, so we got a couple new card of Pauper, or I say Pauper, of Common. This one is a new one, Gloomfang Mauler, 7 mana, Swamp Cycling 2. So this is the black one we haven't gotten yet. Back up to Menace. So this can be 7 mana, 7/7 Menace. I think for Swamp Cycling 2 also, this is definitely going to go in that deck I was talking about for Modern. This will come out as a 7/7 with Menace. If you pay 2 to go get a Swamp, and it's in the colors. I think they play I think it's Jund. They play black, red, green because they need to play Outburst. I can't remember. It's something Outburst, or it's just called Outburst because it has it's a 3 mana cost Cascade card, and they also play another 3 mana cost Cascade card, so they can cascade into the card that lets them pull the people's graveyards out and put them on the battlefield. Yeah, so you get a 7/7 Menace, and it also lets you cycle it to go get you a swamp if you're having problems with lands in your hand, you know, or it just lets you, you know, it gets you the lands you need to make sure you're, you know, not missing land drops. I think this is a great card for that. Not bad. I don't know about Pauper. It's pretty expensive at 7, but yeah, and if it had more black symbols, maybe mono black would like it, but I don't know. Other than that, I think this would be great, and I think this would be good in that deck. I think they want to keep the cost at cycling to 1 and 2. I think they have some 2s. Otherwise, they try to keep them at 1. Obviously, so you can cycle as much stuff as possible. But I think it's possible, especially if you cycle a 2, cycle it for 2, go get yourself a land, and you're gonna get a 7/7 with Menace. I think that's pretty good. Aerial Boost. 1 and a white instant, convoke. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains flying until end of turn. I like it. It's in common, so Pauper. It's got convoke. I think it's usable. It just depends on where you want it. But I think it's definitely a usable card. The +2/+2 and flying. It depends if you're making a flying deck or not, too. It gives you that evasion that you're looking for, and then also the fact that you have convoke, so you can, like, it again. Convoke works so well with creatures with vigilance, so well. Preening Champion. So I've gotten this card before. I don't remember this card at all. Preening Champion, 2 and a blue, flying. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 blue and red elemental creature token. I like that goat. That elemental. The elemental looks really cool. It's kind of like that African gazelle creature / goat. All right. Other common is Alabaster Host Sanctifier. 1 in a white for Phyrexian Cleric. Lifelink 2/2. It's just a 2/2 bear with lifelink. I don't think it's gonna see much play unless there's something that really powers up Phyrexians. Alright, first uncommon, Invasion of Zendikar. Like I said, I might want to try this somewhere. The fact that it's a land in addition to its other types, and it taps for 1 mana of any color. So it does count as a land. Search your library for 2 basics, put them on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. I don't know. I don't know if I want to try this. This might be an interesting one to try in my commander deck. Next uncommon, Artistic. I read that as Autistic Refusal, but there's no way Wizards would probably print that card. Sorry, I just bumped the table. They wouldn't. Yeah, they would never print that. They're a little too autistic themselves, unfortunately, in the bad way. You know, there is nothing bad about, like, I mean, people have kind of come to understand, like, what autism is and gotten way more used to it, at least in the United States. I know there's a lot of other countries that still tend to have far fewer people with autism and all that, but, you know, a lot of times, so many people have gotten so hypersensitive about it. Not just hyper, like, they've gotten autistic about it themselves. You almost think the people that are like, it's so offensive, and like say people that use that type of language, or like there's something wrong with it, it's like you kind of think they're autistic themselves, which they probably are. Artistic Refusal, 6 mana, convoke, choose one or both, counter target spell, draw 2 cards and discard a card. Unfortunately, at 6 mana, I don't think so. If it was like 4 mana convoke, and maybe like draw, like, counter target spell, draw a card, discard a card as your 2 options. But 6 mana? Yeah, I don't know. 6 mana is kind of expensive. Dude, we got an extra Knight Errant of Eos. We got an extra rare, and we got 2 copies of this now. Man, we are getting what we need. Boom. Alright, let's flip our rare. It is an alternate art. Anafinza Kinstry Spirit. Cool. This is a great one. I like Anafinza. She is a soldier, so she's both a spirit and a soldier. When another non-token creature enters battlefield, you control bolster 1. Bolster 1, or bolster is choose a creature with the least toughness among creatures you control, put a 1/1 counter on it. So I like this card. It wasn't a bad. It was a pretty decent card, and when movies in Abzan decks and stuff back in the Tarkir sets. So yeah, I like this card a lot. Good. I'm surprised it doesn't see a little bit more play. It does something similar to some of the other 2-drops. There's another 2-drop that lets you put 1/1 counters, except that does let you choose where the 1/1 counter goes. This always puts it on the weakest thing, I guess. So I would just play them both, to be honest. But yeah, so I will not balk at an extra rare. So, but we got our extra Knight Errant of Eos. I am happy about that. All right, next pack. Pack 5. Right? Yeah, because we got 5 left. All right, Chomping Kavu, 4 mana, 3/3, backup 1. This creature can be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Meh. Phyrexian Archivist, 6 colorless Phyrexian Construct for 4/5. Reach 2, tap it, put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. No, that's never useful when it's like on the bottom, unless I guess you have a search mechanism maybe. Stasis Field, enchanted creature has base power and toughness 0/2, has defender, and loses all other abilities. This, I'll be honest, this is a better common than the other one. The other one, that other enchantment that mills, I mean, it does mill cards, so like I said, unless your deck has a mill card strategy to it, where you want cards in your graveyard or your opponent's graveyard, and it's very important, so like the rogue deck or something, this just straight up does exactly what you wanted to do right away without having any other requirements. So I guess there are some things where, like I said, like cards in the graveyard, cards in your graveyard, you want to mill cards, so it does that. But then this automatically gives it 0 power, loses all abilities. So I think this is a good pauper card for sure. 2 mana, defender, 0/2, loses all the abilities. In blue, not bad. So yeah, I like that for pauper. Again, different decks will want different things. All right, first uncommon, Invasion of Pyrulia. This one I think I've said before. I think it's a good card, even if we just get the backside and don't really care about other transform cards. ETB, scry 3, then reveal top card of your library. If it's a land or double face card, draw a card. So even if you're not running double face card, it's just, I mean, it's, you get yourself your lands. There's quite a few double face card though, so double face cards now are becoming far more prevalent. So I don't know how green blue might run it, but there is a decent amount of double face cards. But the backside, even like I said, a 4/4 trampled ward 2, and then yeah, 4/4 trampled ward 2, and you only have to do 4 damage to it to get that thing. It's not bad. It'll be interesting though. It'll be interesting. I want to see what. I'm interested though. I think I really want to go to Pyrulia. I can't remember if this is an old set or a new set. For some reason, I want to say it's an old set, but this is a redo of an old card, right? This is an old card. Inga Ruinized. This is from the Viking sets. 4 mana. This isn't the first one I've gotten either. 4 mana, 3/3, enters the battlefield, scry 3. When it dies, draw 3 cards. If 3 or more creatures died this turn. Like I said, this wouldn't actually be bad in a Azorius control shell, blue-white control. It lets you scry 3 when it enters. I know you probably want to do more at 4 mana. I know. But then that, if you wrath the field, it allows you to trigger draw 3. You're probably, because it counts itself as dying if 3 or more creatures died this turn. Yeah, so if you're going to blow up the field, you're going to blow it up and most likely 2 other creatures, because that's probably why you're blowing up the field. So you're probably going to be drawing 3 cards off that. I like the card. I like it. I don't think it sees much play, though, unfortunately. All right, then we got a Uncommon Wild. Let's see here. Why am I doing that? I don't know. Uncommon Wild. And then let's flip our rare. Sunfall. We've got a second one of this now. I haven't been seeing much play of this. It's probably seen some play in Standard, but it has yet to replace anything. A lot of the other cards that allow you to choose modes are still way too good. They play a lot of cheaper of the enchantments, the enchantment removal spells still, like the 3 drops and the 4 drops. You got to be really good. Like at 5 drop, there's like I said, the ones that let you choose creatures, artifacts, enchantments, that kind of stuff. So, but I also like the fact, so this exiles instead of destroys. It incubates X, where X is the number of creatures exiled this way. I like this one. I think it'll take some time before it starts to see a little bit of replacement, and it depends on what type of control shell it's going to go into. But the other thing too is I think this isn't bad for non-control shells. This can break stalemates, and then you can blow up the entire board. I know it leaves you technically weak to a removal spell, but if you're in a stalemate and you're both low on cards or something and you blow the board up, then you're gonna get yourself a nice big creature to then attack in with, and you can evade sorcery speed removal and stuff like that and just wait. Well, no, unfortunately you can't, because you have, as long as because you can, as long as that token has been under your control from the previous turn, I mean, since the beginning of your turn, you can transform it and attack with it, right? If I'm understanding it correctly. So if you take your turn, blow up their stuff, leave the token, and you can transform at any speed. It doesn't say sorcery. Incubate, transform this artifact, and transform to a 0/0 Phyrexian artifact. Yeah, okay. So blow up the board, leave it as a token so that they have to have token, specifically artifact removal, and then transform it right before you attack, so they also need instant speed removal. So, I mean, I guess you're leaving yourself, but it also will give the chance for your side to rebuild. Like, you'll have a chance to rebuild over their side, and you'll have if they lose 5 creatures, you lose 5 creatures. You now have a 10/10 that can come in, beaten door, face, and it's going to take a while for them to rebuild, or they're going to have a removal spell. I think there's some leeway, or you can play with some indestructible stuff, and this can do some pretty decent damage. I don't know. I think this card's gonna find its place eventually. I just don't know which, because like I said, the modal destruction cards at 5 mana, you're gonna have to fight for a place over those, and then you have the mass removal spells at a lower cost at like 3 and 4 right now. So, but in Standard, I'm not playing any Standard right now, so this might be seeing some play there. I will see you. My brain's not working. All right, next pack. I was gonna say let's go to the next pack, but then I started saying like I'll see you in the next video. All right, we got another rare. Nice. So we're up to 7, and don't forget we've gotten 2 rares that we need for red-white tokens. So most of this is going into Storm in the Festival, and we're just kind of collecting things for red-white. Burning Sun's Fury. We got some of that this turn. We got those already. Alabaster Host Sanctifier, just a bear with lifelink. Corrupted Conviction. Corrupted Conviction. I like the art on this one. That's a Johnny, right? Turned into a Phyrexian. So this is the one I think. All right, so this is the one. This is like Bone Splinters, but you don't have the the ability of paying the alternate cost. As an additional cost, cast a spell, sack a creature, draw 2 cards. Unfortunately, it is an instant, 1 black. Oh, no, no, no. My brain's not working. It's another village rights. I thought this was the destroy the creature one, but it's not. Yeah, it's just another village rights, isn't it? Yeah, but you have to do it has to be a creature. It can't be an artifact. Yeah, I think it's just a functional reprint of village rights. I have to check that one. If anything, I think it's still pretty decent. I can't remember if village rights is... Yeah, village rights is an instant. So, yeah, this is a good one. I mean, unfortunately, just more copies of village rights. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Pauper's gonna like it, I think. Angelic Intervention, 1 in a white. Instant. Target creature or planeswalker you control gains protection from colorless or from the color of your choice till end of turn. If it's a creature, put a 1/1 counter on it. Yeah, that's gonna be used somewhere. It gives you protection from Eldrazi, artifact creatures, lots of different things, and it gets a 1/1 counter. And it also protects your planeswalkers. So Pauper's gonna like it, and I think it's probably gonna see some sideboard play somewhere else, just because it also protects your planeswalkers. So uncommon, Scrappy Bruiser, 3 in a red, 3/4. Whenever it attacks, up to 1 target attacking creature gets +2/+0 and gains trample to end of turn. Return that creature to its owner's hand at end of combat. Yeah, there was a card I misread earlier. When we bought the March of the Machines Aftermath, I finally realized that the promo card, or the card that you got free when you bought the packs, it says up to one target land turns into a flying bird creature, or XX bird creature, where X is the number of cards in your hand. I thought I've been through so many rewordings and stuff like that. So up to meaning you don't have to choose one. It can be up to means you can be 0. It doesn't say it. Otherwise, in the past, it used to be a May ability. A lot of times, I think they've always, most of the things, May abilities, or is May still around, or have they always, is it been reworded completely? I'm not sure. But yeah, so that card's a lot better. It is pretty good, I think. I'll show it to you guys later again. But yeah, so it's up to 1. So same thing here. I don't think the Scrappy Bruiser is pretty good though. A 3/4 for 4, but it gains +2/+0 and trample unless you're throwing out hasty creatures, which is possible. But I think there's better things, like there's the werewolf that gives +1/+0 in haste, or it gives 1/+0, and then when it flips, it gives +2/+0 to target attacking or target creature. At the beginning of combat, it gives the pump. So you just play that. Stoke the Flames. Oh, this has been bumped up to uncommon. This was that common that everybody was fighting over. It was like a $2 common or something, because they were, or like $4 common, because they were only found in the it's played in red deck wins for standard, and it was only in the what was it? It was only in the starter decks, where they went and put something in the starter decks, and they were all the red starter decks were sold out in the the red planeswalker decks or whatever. And it was like, oh my god, you guys did it again. It's like, why did you make a new card and put it only in the starter decks? I know they didn't think it was going to be a good card per se, but for what it did exactly what people needed. All right, so obviously this is a used card in quite a bit of things. The fact that it has Convoke is the point. What you can do is you can play out a whole bunch of creatures, and then you can tap those creatures to deal the 4 damage. So Convoke is very powerful, similar to like Delve and everything. So that's why it's costed the way it's costed. Otherwise, 4 damage for 4 isn't particularly good, but the Convoke is what's important. Daxos, Blessed by the Sun. This is the alternate art. I like it. This used to be in the life gain deck. Obviously we played some different one. There's some different ones. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies. So this also hit death triggers. I'm interested to see if I want to play with this at all, but this also might, I think this might play, this also sees some play in the oak, the combo deck, where you with the I can't remember. There's the thing that produces 1/1 squirrel tokens and puts 1/1 counters. 1/1 counters on it. So so we might eventually we've got a couple copies of this now, I think, so this might see some play with us with one of our life gain decks that we're working with, so that's a good thing to get. All right, what is our rare? Deep Root Wayfinder. Oh, they reprinted this? No, this is a different card. This is a first. Okay, for some reason I was thinking this is the uncommon card. Deep Root Wayfinder. 1 in a green, 2/3. When it deals combat damage to a player or battle, surveil 1. Then you may return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Interesting. Surveil 1, look at the top card of your library, you may put it into your graveyard. Okay. So I'm thinking of I think there's another Deep Root card, if I'm remembering correctly, that when it ETBs, you surveil, and if it's and I can't remember. It puts a 1/1 counter on your card if no, that's a different ability. Surveil no. That's a different ability. That one's if it's a land, it goes into your hand. If it's not a land, you put a 1/1 counter on the creature. Yeah, it's a totally different card. This actually could go in my Windgrace deck, because it allows you to return lands from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Yeah. And it's only a 2-drop too. So, yeah, I really like this. I think this is interesting. This is a good way to pitch lands into your graveyard and then get them back. It's not a bad 2-drop. So don't think of it as just you're looking for the activation only. This could be played in an aggro deck, in like a blue, like say like a black-green or like a blue-green aggro-y deck. And then you get those triggers, and then you're doing damage. It's also a merfolk, so you can play it in merfolk, which I like merfolk. Ixalan merfolk, yummy. And when you're playing it in merfolk, when you get those damage triggers, you're just looking for the damage, right? And the rest is kind of additional bonus. It's got a little bit of a butt. It's harder to kill, and then being able to cipher out the lands off the top of your deck when it hits, and some people are going to let 2 damage through quite often, and then you get to pitch those lands off the top of your deck into your graveyard, and then get them. And then return a land from your graveyard to the battlefield. Obviously, in other sets, this is going to allow you to get back fetch lands and stuff like that. So, if it had some sort of form of evasion or pseudo-evasion, obviously, but a 2-drop too, this means mid-range decks and control decks, this is going to get to work a lot. It's going to get to work early. It's going to have the hardest time against more aggro-y decks. But at the same time, you work this, if you work this into a merfolk deck or a lords deck, like something with lords, or like I said, something like I would work this with Hadana's Climb. Like turn 2, you play a Deep Root. Turn 3, you play Hadana's Climb, giving it counters, putting counters on it and growing it. It's going to be harder for them to get rid of it. So, I like this card. I think this is definitely, and like I said, just play it as an aggro-y thing, going for damage, and the rest is kind of, especially like if it's in a merfolk deck, and then the rest is just kind of gravy. Being able to surveil, get rid of lands that are in your way until you get to more of your deck, and then returning those lands from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's kind of like pseudo ramp, and it's also getting those lands out of your deck, off the top of your deck. So hopefully you'll see more of your extra, like just regular cards. That's amazing. I like that. I think that's a very powerful card. And like I said, if you could give it flying, if there's something you could give it, if a deck could give it flying or something like that, then this could be so good. So good. Getting that a trigger all the time, like just making sure you get that trigger all the time by like a Satire's Boon or something. Is it Satire's Boon? No, Hippogriffins. I don't know. There's a one drop enchantment that gives like +1/+1 and flying, or just gives flying. I can't remember. It's a white enchantment, and then you can recast it from your graveyard for 4 mana. 1 white, give it flying, and then this just is hitting in the air each turn, and you're able to say, "Oh, land on top, pitch it in my graveyard. Now I can put that on my grave. Now I can return it from my graveyard tapped, and just keep digging into your deck and then get through those lands that you would normally draw and would stall you out. That's very, very useful, and that turns a deck into, well, I maybe could have won if I didn't draw 3 lands in a row to, you know, I drew a land and 2 cards that were extremely useful or something. And it also turns the Deep Root into an extremely target. I know that's like, well, you got to do something additional. I think just putting that on the field makes it a bit of a threat, because people are going to kind of ignore it, and if you don't allow it, people are going to just kind of ignore it. And like I said, if you put it in the right shell, I think it's going to be a very big threat. You always say that about a lot of cards, but I mean, just being able to help you dig through your deck is going to be extremely useful. It's going to let you pitch things off the top of your deck all the time. So it's, yeah, I'm liking it. I like it a lot. It's kind of a pseudo drawing green. And like I said, it works in a Merfolk shell. It works in some other shells. It can work in a Surveil shell. So yeah. All right, next pack. I like that card. Hey, double rare. Double rare. I thought we had a card of this already. I really did. All right, Jungle Hollow. This is just the ETB tapped and gain a life ones, green, black. Core Halberd. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Has vigilance. Equip 1. I think that's a good popper one. Preening Champion, the one we just saw a little bit ago. Flying 2/2, Bird Knight. Enters battlefield, create a 1/1 blue and red elemental creature token. Tranquil Cove, another ETB tap land, gain a life, and that's the blue and, or white and blue one. Alright, first uncommon is Tangled Skyline, and we've seen this quite a few times. This is the one that gives you, it's 5 mana, you gain 5 life, incubate 5, and Phyrexians you control have reach. Just going, the white one that gave you incubate 3 and gave your Phyrexians vigilance, I think is far more playable over this. Reach, if this gave him trample, maybe, because you get a 5/5, gain 5 life, and it gives him trample. But the reach, unfortunately, I just don't think. Trample allows you to get damage through. Reach is more defensive, and a lot of times you're playing something like this. It kind of plays like an overrun. You have creatures on board. You drop this for 5 mana. You get something it's going to gain you 5 life and give you another creature that, I know you got to activate it, but it gives you another potential body. But then it also allows your current ones on board to get their damage through. So, but not reach, unfortunately. Next uncommon, 2 into black. Phyrexian Elf Warrior, 2/3, 1 tap, sack another creature or artifact, incubate 3. Oh, this is the one that I said, this just lets you sacrifice your own incubate token every turn. This is another creature or artifact. Yeah, so it just lets you sacrifice your own incubate token and get sack triggers every single turn. I know you have to tap it. If you just had to pay 1 mana and not tap it, then you could just dump all your mana, but I think it is just an automatic, but also it can turn your smaller, it can turn your goats, it can turn your 1/1s into bigger creatures also. So I think this is actually not a half bad thing to put in a sack deck, because it'll give you sack triggers. You can get sack triggers every turn, because you're not only do you sacrifice. Not only do you get a sack trigger when you do it, but a lot of the things don't replace themselves. This will always replace the thing you're sacking, even if it sacks the replacement. It'll replace it. So you'll always have a replacement. So every turn you're going to get another sacrifice. So that's very useful. The sack deck can die a lot of the times because it loses its sacks. It loses things that it needs to sacrifice, and it starts sacrificing things that it shouldn't sacrifice. Like, it just runs out of sacrifice targets. So I think this isn't bad. At 3 mana, it's kind of expensive. If it was like a one, if this was like a 1/1 for 2 that did this, then I think it would be far more uh, playable. But I think even at 3 mana as a 2/3, I think it's still playable. And I think mono black, green black. I don't know about like red black sack has what it wants, but I think things like the deck that has the I can't remember what it's called, but the witch that wants to sacrifice 2 targets and then forces you to sack a target, draws the controller a card and produces you 2 black mana. That sacrifice deck is gonna want this because it's gonna just keep producing you sack targets. It also that deck plays things that get triggers off of sacks. So if this was, like I said, if this was a 1/2 for 2, I think it would be perfect. But just because every turn you're getting those sack triggers, but maybe it would be too perfect. All right, so our additional rare is Baral and Kari Zev. 1 blue red and for a 2/4 first strike menace. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, you may cast a spell with lesser mana value that shared a card type with it from your hand that shared. Wait. You may cast a spell with lesser mana value that shares a card type with it from your hand without paying its mana cost. If you don't, create first Ragavan, a legendary 2/1 red monkey pirate creature token, gains haste until end of turn. Huh. That's not bad. I haven't seen it much play in Explorer, but I don't know about standard. Obviously, I don't think the original Kari Zev, I think that one has Menace as well, and no haste. So, a 2/4 for 3. Oh, that one has the original Kari Zev has first strike and Menace, doesn't it? And it's a 1/3 for 2. Yeah, I don't know. This one's obviously going to be in that instant sorcery shell. I don't know. It doesn't make things cost less. It produces a token that goes away at the end of turn. I don't know. I really don't know how to evaluate that one because it's going to be placed in a totally different shell than the original one. And unfortunately, it doesn't. Again, it's very different from the original. It's very different from the original Baral. You know, allowing you to play a spell and then another spell with lesser value. So if you play a 3 spell, you get a 2 spell. If you play a 2 spell, you get a 1 spell. And if you don't, you get a 2/1 monkey pirate. And it gains haste. Oh, it doesn't go away at end of turn. It just gains haste till end of turn. But obviously you can only only have 1 copy because it's legendary. Huh. I don't know. It kind of wants to play in a blue-red hasty creature, or not a hasty creature, unfortunately, because it's not haste. But it wants to kind of play in that blue-red thing, shell. But unfortunately, it allows you to play cards out of your hand faster with less mana, but it doesn't. You would have to play some other cards in your hand to refuel your hand. So, and the menace is kind of pseudo-evasion. I don't know. I just don't know. I really don't know on that one. All right, our rare is Alternate Art Kahiri the Orphan Guard. I can't remember what this is called again. The green, the split mana. 1 split green white, 1 split green white. Oh, this is the one. Okay, so this is one of the companion creatures. It's a cat beast. Each other creature you control that's a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast gets +1/+1 and it has vigilance. Well, that's fun. I have seen this one before. This is the cool alternate art. I like it. This is the first one we're going to have of this one, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, that's cool. So now we have the otter. I think we have the hippogriff. No, the hippopotamus one. It's like a hippopotamus dinosaur, or it's just a dinosaur, but it looks like a hippopotamus. And of course, I have the black and white cat nightmare. I think it's the nightmare. But I don't know where I would play this. Each creature card in your starting deck is cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast card. There is cat decks. There were cat decks in the past. I don't think I've seen them played in a while, though, unfortunately. Elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast card. There might be a dinosaur deck out there. I'm not sure, though. So I like the art on this one. I like the card. Unfortunately, I just don't think there's anywhere that we're going to slot it in. So this is going to be pack 8, correct? Yeah, pack 8, because we got 2 packs left. Ooh, nice alternate. Ferja, Judge of Valor. I like that art. Enduring Bond Warden. 1 white, backup 1. When this creature dies, put its counter on target creature you control. I just wish this had flash, so that you could flash this in, and when something with counters dies, it would that way you could do that. But it doesn't. So otherwise, the backup 1, like, I guess the backup 1 only allows for combat, quote unquote, tricks on your turn. You play this, use the backup 1 on something with a bunch of counters on it. You attack in with it, and then if it died for some reason, then you're allowed to move those counters over. So, all right, next card, Arachnoid Adaptation. This is the first one we've gotten of this one, which is weird. I don't know how we've opened so many packs. We have opened easily a box of packs, like 30-some packs, and still, we've more than that even, and this is the first time. I know you only get 5 commons instead of, like, what, 10 commons, 8 to 10 commons in a normal pack, but still, how have we not gotten one of these yet? How are there any cards that we haven't gotten one of yet? Arachnoid Adaptation. 1 green for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains reach till end of turn. Untap it. Interesting. This could be a sideboard card in some pauper. The reach is pertinent for a lot of things, like Delver. The +2/+2 can make it so it survives, and then also you can attack in on 1 turn and then turn around and untap it. So, yeah. Then we got a common wild card, and then Ichor Shade. 2 into black. 2/3. Creature, Phyrexian Shade. Beginning of your instep. If an artifact or creature was put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Ichor Shade. Beginning of your instep. If an artifact or creature was put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn, put a 1/1 counter. Okay. So this is if something died this turn. A graveyard. So it doesn't care where, as long as something died, an artifact or a creature went to the graveyard, you get a 1/1 counter. But it only triggers at your instep, so it doesn't trigger every single time something goes to the graveyard. Boobies. I need to get some water. I want to open the next pack. I'm going to go grab some water real quick because it's just over at my seat. Yeah, so unfortunately, this wouldn't be terrible because there's a lot of good pauper cards. There's the beetle that triggers whenever something dies. I think there's a couple of cards that whenever stuff your stuff dies, whenever stuff just dies in general, and sometimes when stuff dies on your opponent's side, they get 1/1 counters. Sometimes there's other ones too that whenever something gets sacrificed, they get 1/1 counters. So all of these are good payoff cards, good pauper cards. Unfortunately, this only gets 1 counter at the very most per turn, so it's gonna build very slowly. So especially at the cost, if it was just a 2/3 for 3 that built whenever something died, or whenever an artifact or creature went to the graveyard, at the cost it still would have been kind of high, but I still think it would have been okay. But unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna be good enough because we have other stuff that's cheaper. All right, our first uncommon, Invasion of Dominaria. 2 and a white. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life and draw a card. I think this is possible in some control shells, because then also on the flip side, 4/4 flying vigilance. You get a Sarah Faithkeeper. So the gain 4 draw a card ain't bad for 3 mana. Unfortunately, it's sorcery speed for the battle, of course. Then 5 damage to it gives you a flying vigilance 4/4. The vigilance is pretty pertinent. The flying's pretty pertinent. So I don't think that's bad. We had there were similar cards in the past, gaining new life and drawing new cards at a relatively similar, relatively similar. But they also produce tokens, I think. So I think it also could be a decent sideboard card if they just need to gain life, like to offset some burn or something. because it gains you the life and draws you the cards. And then it can allows them to put some pressure if they're able to flip it. I think the backside is simply just a. Not always are you going to be like, I'm not going to always get the backside. If you can always get the backside, that's a really good card. But if you just kind of look at the card, is the front side good enough and the backside just gravy? Then I think that's pretty decent. The front side ain't bad for what it does. 4 life, draw a card, 3 mana. Now, unfortunately, it's sorcery speed, like I said. But that could be good enough in a lot of situations for what they want to do. But then in that case, like I said, it'd be a sideboard card. So, Mutagen Connoisseur. I love the art on this card. Like I said, I love the Ichor slime coming off and everything onto him. It looks like it should be. I mean, it looks like it should be a Merfolk. It should be one of the Ixalan Merfolk, but I wish it was. I love that it looks kind of like one of those the zenith, the sun zeniths in the background, like a green sun or the white sun zenith in the background. 1 green and a blue. Creature, Videlkin mutant 0/5, flying vigilance. He gets +1/+0 for each transformed permanent you control. I just don't know how many transformed permanents are going to be pertinent. I know there's quite a few. There's the flip cards. There's tokens. There's planeswalkers. There are, but I think the more prevalent transform cards get, the more interesting this one will be. But God, I just wish this was for 3 mana for what it does. I wish it was a Merfolk. I mean, not the ability, not the transform. I wish it was +1/+0 for Merfolk with flying and vigilance. But yeah, unfortunate. But I love the art on this card. So I don't know how to read this card. And really, I just need I need to know how many more if there's a good transform deck out there that can slot this in. If there is, then flying vigilance 0/5 that it could have a place somewhere out there, but otherwise I don't think so. When I say I don't think it's going to see much play. If it doesn't have a shell already out there, if the transform cards aren't taking off, or if there's not enough of them producing, like if it doesn't fit well with tokens, or especially in green-blue, if there's not enough, then I just don't think it's going to see much play. Ferja, Judge of Valor. I love this art, by the way. Wolf Skull Jack. That's an interesting name. So obviously not his real name, but I love that art. It's really cool. So we got 2 white, black, legendary creature, angel, cleric. I think I remember the original version of this. Flying lifelink. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, look up at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand or the rest in your graveyard. Yeah, I think I remember that one. I kind of remember what the original art looked like, but I like this one quite a bit. And I love, of course, I love the border on these ones for these old, I can't remember what the set was called, but the Viking sets. I love all that Nordic looking trim, as if it was like on a doorway or inside of their houses and stuff. So yeah, I like it. I like that art quite a bit. All right, so those are our commons, and our rare is gonna be. Oh, we got is our second one? I think that's our second one. Ozolith, the Shattered Spire. I need a couple of these for my artifact tokens, which runs like for modern, which runs like ballistic walkers, hangerback walkers, and stuff like that. So I need some of these Ozolith. I need the original Ozolith spires too, but unfortunately those are pretty expensive. Also, these are a little bit less so. This one, legendary artifact. So Ozolith the Shattered Spire, 1 green, legendary artifact. If 1 or more 1/1 counters would be put on an artifact or creature you control, that many +1 1/1 counters are put on it instead. 1 in a green, tap it. Put a 1/1 counter on target artifact or creature you control. Activate only as a sorcery. What I like about this is it's legendary, but it also has cycling 2. So if you get stuck with more on your hand, the cycling is pertinent. So yeah. And basically the ability is 1 in a green, put 2 1/1 counters on target artifact or creature. So this is a good card. This is going to see tons of commander play. A lot of themed decks are going to love this. This is going to, like I said, it sees play in the modern deck. It's going to see play probably somewhere in Explorer. Eventually, there's going to be a themed deck with it. So Ozolith, the original Ozolith with counters already saw a bunch of play, either in Historic or Explorer at some point. So I think with this one, it's going to see some extra play. So, all right, we're going to get the next pack, and I'm going to grab my water really fast. Ready? Let's go! No! I hit the table. I'm sorry. Oh, did we get another rare? It looks like we did. Yes, we did. All right, cool. And I think that's a pretty good Phoenix, too. All right, we got Negate. Not much we can't say about that. I know the picture is like negating his armor or taking his armor off, which I guess is like an enchantment or something, but still kind of feels like it should be not negate, but the other one, the counter target creature one for 2 mana. Oh. I always want to say remove soul, but that was the old one. I played with remove soul a whole bunch. Not like I had the card played against me too, but I used to play that was played against. That was the card that was played a lot before whatever the current version is. I can't remember what it's called now. So, yep, 1 in a blue, counter target non-creature spell. Negate's used everywhere. So, that's just a card that we're forever until they give us a functionally better reprint. It's just gonna be standard usage all over the place. Skittering Surveyor, 3 mana, 1/2. There's a battlefield. Search your library for basic land, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Obviously, there's the other Surveyor. There's one that's better than this. It's a 1/1 with flying for 3 mana that does the exact same thing that people have in their commander decks. So both of them actually, I mean, they have ETB triggers, so they're obviously abusable. But we got another Corrupted Conviction, 1 black instant. It's just another Village Rites. Additional cost, cast a spell, sack a creature, draw 2 cards. I'm kind of worried about playing against multiple Village Rites. With so much token production, it just can be so. I would actually like, so there's red-white tokens. I would wonder if they could splash black just for the Village Rites and Corrupted Conviction. Because the deck really runs out of cards quite often. If you really just, I know you don't want to water down how much, but there's so many times when they run out of cards that if you want to go for a longer game, I would love to just play with those. I would like to try at least playing with a couple cards. Because just being able to sack a token, or like an Ornithopter or something, and just be able to start filling your hand back up would be really, really nice. All right, another Angelic Intervention. This one I said is it's going to see a lot of sideboard play. 1 in a white instant. Target creature or planeswalker you control gains protection from colorless or from the color of your choice till end of turn. If it's a creature, put a 1/1 counter on it. That colorless is what's very pertinent. Just like the Mother of Ruins, which is just like Mom, the older card. It was you tapped her. She also gave herself protection from a color of your choice, unlike Mother of Ruins, which only gives other creatures protections from color or colorless. But cards like this, especially in Pauper or sideboard cards, where you can play at instant speed. I think there are some other cards, I think they have 1 mana that do some stuff that's similar, so maybe those get played over, but you might also see this in Pauper, like I said, as a couple copies of something. But the fact that it gives protection from colorless, there's still very few cards of that around, and that's very pertinent. There's a lot of artifact creatures, artifacts that do stuff that run around, and it also, so protection from Eldrazi, protection from artifacts, very pertinent. So, first uncommon. This is our first time we've gotten this one too. Now this I can understand. There's a lot of uncommons we probably still haven't gotten. So Norn's Inquisitor, 1 in a white. When it enters the battle, so it's a Phyrexian Knight. 1 in a white. Okay, Norn's Inquisitor, 1 in a white. Phyrexian Knight, 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, incubate 2. For 2 mana, you get 2 bodies. I know you got to transform it. I know there's more to do, but it still works pretty well. That's why the incubates they give you a little bit more power in the incubate creatures because they know you got to transform them. So incubate 2. So this is pretty fun to mess around with if you have a blink effect or something, or you can put it back in your hand and play it again. It's also a knight, which I like. Whenever a permanent you control transforms into a Phyrexian, put a 1/1 counter on it. I like this card. It gives you a token right away to mess with. And then also it allows you to transform. I think this is going to see some play somewhere. Now it has to transform into a Phyrexian, unfortunately. Not just anything. When I was thinking whenever a permanent you control transforms, but it is a Phyrexian. But I think this is going to see some play somewhere. It's just abusable for 2 mana. You get 2 bodies. I know you got to pay the other, but it also produces tokens. It also has a payoff for when you start flipping tokens. It's flipping those incubates. If you have more incubate somewhere, I know. I think there's something about this card says it's just there's something about it. And if there's some other good incubate tokens that have value in what they do, right? Like value in a body like this. I know it's a 1/1 for 2, but the fact that it gives you those 2 bodies. So I know there's some other Phyrexians. I mean, you could do white-black Phyrexians. There's that Samurai Phyrexian. The Phyrexians you control get +1/+1. And it also, I think it allows you to do some incubating stuff. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. But then there's the other rare card that just has XX and allows you to just start dumping incubate tokens. And you can put it back into your hand. Like, if you somehow bring it back into your hand, you can just start dumping tokens again. There's a lot of things that could go around with this. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking more an Explorer. I don't know about Standard. Again, I think Standard would be where this is most playable in some sort of Phyrexian deck. It seems like there are quite a few cards that are getting Phyrexian stuff. The question is, this is the last time we see Phyrexians. There might be some Phyrexians left over. We might get to see some Phyrexians left over. Either A, we might get to do a flashback set. A set back... it'd be cool if they do a flashback set from the original Phyrexian invasion. Like, so we have the set called Invasion. And they do a set, like, during that time period. Kind of like an additional set during that time period. During that time block. That kind of covers I would like them to do like smaller sets or a set during a time block that covers a smaller story, like covers a story that we don't really see. It doesn't, a lot of the stories are very big and massive and covering a whole plane, but it would be nice to like follow a smaller group of people during the invasion set, so we see a lot of cards and a lot of stuff during invasion. Like we get some more Phyrexians in and get some more new Phyrexian cards, but it doesn't follow like it doesn't follow a lot of the normal. Maybe we see some of those people in there, but maybe it's a story. It's like a small sub story in there. They could do that a lot. We could see small sub stories and more sub stories in say like Lorwyn, or like sub stories during Return to Zendikar, where the Eldrazi are going to bust out, and we can see sub-stories about small groups of adventurers or something. And those could be like not set in Standard, or they could be set in Standard, and that allows you to get some more cards in those sets, even though like the Eldrazi are technically gone. I wish they would do stuff like that instead of just somehow bringing all the Eldrazi back or bringing all the Phyrexians back. You could kind of bring in smaller stories, have a smaller set during that time period, and tell smaller stories, and then have magic cards around those smaller stories. Yeah, anyways, but that's just me. But yeah, so if we get some more Phyrexian love, then I think this card could definitely flourish. But also in Standard, I think there's some cards that definitely could support it, so... All right, I really like this card. I think it has a place somewhere. Like I said, I'm not playing Standard, so yeah, I might even be seen playing. I just don't know it. So I know Mercadia is a place that we've been before. Is it Mercadian Masks or Mercadian Masks? There is a set named Mercadia. Like I know Mercadia is a place. I'm pretty sure. Mercadia is now coming back to my mind. Pretty sure it's a place that we've been. I think it's the Weatherlight crew have been there to Mercadia. All right, this one is in a battle invasion of Mercadia. 1 in a red. When invasion of Mercadia enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. That in itself is not bad. We have other sorcery speed spells that do that. I think Cathartic Reunion. Is that an instant, though? That might be an instant. But then the fact that it has an additional backside here. So if you play this, you basically want additional triggers. It's similar to Cathartic. I mean, you want additional cards like Cathartic Reunion. So you want the additional pitch. You discard a card, you draw 2 cards. So you want to filter through your deck, get what you're looking for. The backside is 2 in a red, tap, discard a card, create 2/1/1 blue and red elemental creature tokens. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste till end of turn. I guess the backside, some decks might want the front side and not care about the backside at all. Some decks, you might use the backside as a payoff. Like, it might be an alternate payoff. So even if your front, like, your deck is doing something completely different, if your plans go awry or something, let's say, you could blow up the front side of this, the battle, and then you could and flip the card and start producing tokens and start attacking. So, like, just like control decks or some decks, having an alternate way to do something isn't terrible. So I think the flip side of this, being able to produce tokens, giving giving creatures you control +1/+0 and haste, turning them into 2/1 hasties and stuff like that, ain't a bad way if you're gonna start, get them. But this could also work in like a Mardu shell or something, or a Grixis shell, where this is your draw spell. You get rid of a lot of their creatures, and then you flip this and you start producing tokens and start beating face. So, like, this is the backside as a payoff. Bloodfeather Phoenix is our additional rare. I thought we had another copy of this, but I guess not. That there's been so many. It might be like Warcaller Phoenix or something from one of the Dominaria sets I'm thinking of. But this is a good one. I think I've seen this played against me before. It's 1 in a red for a 2/2 Phoenix. Flying, can't block. Whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control deals damage to an opponent or battle, you may pay a red. If you do, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste till end of turn. So it doesn't additionally have haste, but if it dies from getting blocked or killed, then you can constantly recur it with just paying 1 red. I think this isn't a bad one. I think this one along with Chandra's Phoenix, that one has hate. It's a 3/3. It's 1 red for 2/2 flying haste. And if you hit a player with a instant or sorcery, I think if you do non-combat damage to it, that's how you can bring it back. There's no pain. So that additional cost is like, you have to pay an additional. So you kind of cut the additional cost. This one's cheaper. So I think both of those are good Phoenixes. Sometimes they make some bad Phoenixes. But yeah, this isn't a bad Phoenix. Obviously, if you want that hasty damage. But the other thing you could do, too, is pitch this to the graveyard and then burn face, and bring it back and get haste. So there's some things you can do. This could be one card that you pitch early on to get other cards out of your deck, get some burn spells, then burn face, and then pay the 1 red to bring it back with haste. So, yeah. I think that's a good Phoenix, especially at 2 mana. All right, in our rare, or I don't know, yeah, our rare for the pack is, I don't know, I kind of like this art. I don't know, I kind of like it, but I'm not sure. Brutaclad, Telcor Engineer. This is the one I should have for, this is in my Saheeli the Gifted commander deck. 4 blue, red, legendary artifact creature, Phyrexian Artificer, 4/4. Creature tokens you control have haste. Beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 blue Phyrexian Mer artifact creature token. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. So if you have treasure tokens, then you can have all of those treasure tokens turn into your 2/1 blue Phyrexian Mers and start beating face. If you want a whole bunch of mana, you can turn all your blue Mers into those treasure tokens and sack them. If you have, sometimes you have in like Commander, you can make a copy of, say, like Platinum Angel, right? And then you can turn all of them into Platinum Angels and have a bunch of flyers. Or you can have a copy of, I don't know, like Burnish, I don't know, just any nasty artifact. You can make copies of some artifacts pretty easily. And then you start beating face with them. So you can turn those 2/1s into a copy of any. So if you got like 3 2/1s, Mers, then you just turn them. Then you may choose a token. If you do each, it doesn't just say the Mers. So each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. So all tokens you have, you get your nastiest token, and go ahead and turn all your other tokens into that, and then you start beating face or whatever strategy you're going for. So I like Brutaclad. Damn it, I didn't mean to hit the thing again. This thing's so small for my knees. I keep bumping it. So it's a good card. It's obviously a commander card. For the cost of it, it would be a decent payoff card, but I just don't think it. I don't know where, like, can you play this in Historic? I think you can. I don't think you can play this in Explorer, though. I'd have to find out the regulations where these ones are getting played. I think I have seen a couple copies of cards like these in Explorer. I guess, I don't know. I'd have to look. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure where all these are legal. Just because of the symbol. Like, are these specifically, like... Is this even in Standard? I can't tell if this is in Standard or if it's like one of those things where it's, when they brought like the original, when we went to Aether Revolt in those sets, and they had those special cards in Aether Revolt. They weren't legal in Standard, but, they were legal wherever else they were legal. I'm not sure if that's how they worked or not. So I'll have to check and see where they're legal. But, I think it's a good commander card. They do have Brawl on here, so we might try some sort of Brawl. That'd be fun to try some Brutaclad as our commander. So, all right, and this is our 10th and final pack. Definitely not the least of all the packs, hopefully. I did get the one card that I'm just not a fan of. Like, at least the border I'm not a fan of. Order of the Mirror. 2-drop, 2/1, transform it, activate only as a sorcery. It's 3 into Phyrexian white. And then it turns into a 3/3 whenever Order of the Alabaster Host becomes blocked by a creature. That creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Even in Pauper, this ain't that bad, but I still think you probably want something better. Yeah. I don't think it's that bad. This is the first time we've gotten this card, though. Shattered the Source. Ooh, 6 mana. Instant. Convoke. Choose one. Deal 6 damage to target creature or planeswalker or battle. Destroy target artifact. It has Convoke, though. 6 damage to target creature or planeswalker or battle. Creature, planes. So you can't hit face. That sucks. The Convoke, I don't know. I don't know if that's even going to see Pauper. The Convoke could help, but it'd have to be able to hit face, I feel like. Traumatic Revelation. I think you guys know how I feel about this one. This could probably have some play somewhere, but maybe you just want Duress or something that already does what it does at a lower cost, like at the lower cost. But the fact that it could also produce tokens, I'm not sure. All right, Ichor Shade. I don't think this is going to see any play anywhere. 2 black, beginning of your end step, and if an artifact creature was put into graveyard from the battlefield this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Ichor Shade. 2/3. Oh wait, this is the first time we've gotten this card. Render Inert. That is some interesting art. I'm surprised they allowed some goriness to actually come back on some of the art. Yigit Koraglu. That's an interesting name. 2 and a black, sorcery. Remove up to 5 counters from target permanent. Draw a card. Huh. I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, it could. Obviously, this can hit planeswalkers, right? This can hurt things like tokens, like the Phyrexian tokens. This can, you know, it just can get rid of. I mean, this has its uses, but it seems like a very sideboard card. But the fact that it also draws you your card, it draws a card to replace itself after its use is pretty decent. So I think it has its uses, but it's going to be a sideboard card somewhere. I don't know if there's any other ones that are more useful. There's the one, there's that one card that destroys target creature for 1 and a black at instant speed, or removes up to 3 counters. I don't remember if it removes 1 counters, or I can't remember if it's specific counters, or if it just says remove up to 3 counters. So I would have to see the difference. So, all right, we got alternate art is Amoti, Celebrant of Bounty, 3 green, 3 green blue, legendary creature, Naga Druid. It's a 3/1 Cascade. Spells you cast with mana value 6 or greater have Cascade. So, I mean, commander card for sure, but I hate the damn border art on it. Like, if they had some like hieroglyphs and stuff going around the side, it might look cooler. But otherwise, it looks so damn like cheap. Someone took like 5 minutes on this thing. All right, in our rare for the pack is Invasion of Theros. This is the first one of this we've gotten. Invasion of Theros. 2 and a white. It's kind of funny. It looks like the woman's running away, the black guy's running away, and the cat's running away, and the only one left fighting is the hoplite white guy. That's actually kind of funny. Based. No, I'm just joking. But it kind of looks like it. Well, I can't tell if the woman's actually running towards the fight or away from the fight, to be fair. She kind of has her sword drawn, but the other 2 guys are definitely running away. At least that's what it kind of looks like. That or the art's kind of off. The art is kind of weird. Like, they're very towards us in the foreground, but they look like they're about to attack somebody in the you know, like, they're, like, the woman especially, she's got her sword back and she's way too far forward, but she looks like she's kind of going to attack somebody. So it kind of looks like she's going, unless there's, like, supposed to be, like, enemies in front of them. Maybe there's supposed to be enemies in front of them, but I can't tell. Are they surrounded? Maybe I just can't tell the art. Because it looks like maybe they're running, either they're running away from the Phyrexian that's attacking the hoplite. Because the black guy with dreads has got his shield up, like above his head, and he definitely looks like he's running away. But then the Leonin also kind of looks like he's running away, but he's got his scythe pulled back, and he's roaring, but he's got his back to the hoplite. But the same thing, the woman's got her sword pulled back, like she's gonna take a swing, but she looks like she's running away from the guy on the ground. There's got to be more to this picture that the text box is blocking. Oh no, okay. There is more art. Okay, can I right click this? Can I click this? It's not letting me. Okay. So there is more art to this, but I can't enlarge it. When I enlarge it, it turns sideways on the card, which I hate. Why is it doing that? Why you do this, game? Why you do this? So they are fighting something. It looks like there might be. No, it looks like they're running away. I can't tell. Either they're running away or they're fighting something in front of them that I cannot see. So, I don't know. Can't tell. When Invasion of Theros enters the battlefield, search your library for an aura, god, or demigod card. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. The aura part works really well. 3 mana, aura. Unfortunately, it's not just enchantment. Why, for 3 mana, I mean, it would kind of be a better version of the other. There's the other sorcery. There's a sorcery one for 2 and white. Go search your deck for an enchantment. Put it in your hand. This would, yeah, so this is, so to make it not quite the same, they did aura, god, or demigod. So the aura is still pretty good because I have some decent auras in my enchantment deck, in my commander deck. But do I have gods? I think I do. I think there's, no, I don't think I do. I might have a demigod though. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. And then the flip side is an enchantment though. So if the flip side's an enchantment, can I snag that with the card that lets me go and get an enchantment? I think you can, right? If one side's an enchantment, or is the front side of the card the only one that I can read for text? I have to check that. If I have that card that says go search your deck for an enchantment, the back side of this card says enchantment. I can't tell, I can't remember if I'm allowed to search my deck for that or not. Afara, ever sheltering, legendary enchantment, creature god. So this is the blue, I think this is the blue-white god, correct? Or goddess, I should say. I mean, technically. I guess a god is genderless. The title god is, but I guess goddess. Afara, ever sheltering, has lifelink and indestructible as long as you control at least 3 other enchantments. Is lifelink indestructible as long as you control 3 other enchantments? Whenever another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This, I think I could definitely use this for my commander deck. Backside, I mean, snagging an aura, I'd have to see. I don't have too many of the enchantment gods, unfortunately. It would be more useful then. But I might have a demigod. I like this card, though. I kind of wish it costed either, I kind of wish they reduced the cost to 1 and a white and then brought up how much damage it required to flipper. Like 1 and a white and then 6 to flipper, or 1 and a white and 5 to flipper. Just so that you could get that aura, god, or demi. I don't care about the god or demigod myself. I'm thinking more of the aura side. But I like the card, though. I mean, the art's not bad either, but I can't tell if they're running away and the guy, like 3 in the front are running away and the guy in the back's the only one fighting, or the 2 on the right are running away and the girl on the left is running to go help him, or they're facing, or all 3 of them are, like I said, are facing off against somebody in front. And when I pull the thing away from the picture, it's too small to see. It looks like they have like a barricade in front of them almost, but I can't tell. The art's too small at that point. But I still like the card. The card's good. Even the art's relatively good, but then the text box is in front of it, so that's unfortunate. I still think the art's pretty good. So nice art, Johan Grenier. Johan Grenier. All right, so that is the last pack. Sorry that went a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. But yeah, so I think we did really good. We got quite a few cards that we wanted. Some interesting new cards. I like that Phyrexian 2-drop that incubates 2, increases when you transform Phyrexians. So that's a cool one. There's some other good uncommons that I can't think of at the moment, but I remember there being at least one more. And we got 2 of the Eos, the something captains of Eos. We needed those for red-white tokens, so that's great. And there was one more rare. There's one more rare that I can't remember. There was another rare that I was excited about, but that one's either for a deck or one that I think is going to be a good one eventually in the future, either for a deck that'll probably come along, or there's something out there that I'm kind of wanting to brew. So I just have a shitty memory. So that was good. Thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to catch me live, there should be a link here in the video in the description. I stream on Twitch most every afternoon during the week between noon and the midnight Eastern Standard Time. If you want to know exactly when I'm going live, just due to some health stuff and also just kind of life. I don't stream on the exact same time every day. I know usually that's always best, but unfortunately just can't. So If you hop over to Twitch, down in the About section, if you scroll down just a little bit, down in the About section, or if you're watching me live, if you scroll down just a little bit below the stream, there is a link towards the Discord, and hop into the Discord, and I send out notifications every day when I go live, and you can just, you can hop in there, talk to us, chat, hang out. We play on PS4, play with chat all the time, and we play tons of multiplayer games. Excuse me. So we play multiplayer games, and I play tons of single player games, of course, too. But also, if you want to join me here on Arena, if you're looking to play with someone to play with, either to test out decks, if you want to play some Pauper, since there's no offered Pauper, if you want to play like a kind of a slightly different version of Brawl. I don't know if there's a way we can like do Commander, but if you want to play some sort of specific version, we could even do kind of like a Commander version or like a 100 card version. But if there's something you're looking forward to playing, or if you want to just test out your decks against something a little less competitive before you hop into ranked, or if you're looking to test out your deck against something specific, or you just want to have random stuff thrown at it, or you just need something to play with, then send your Arena name on Discord. Just stop in, say hi, send your Arena name, send your PlayStation name, or otherwise your account name for whatever. Like if you're looking for someone to play on Overwatch or whatever, if any of the games that we're playing, go ahead and put your name down for those things there, and we'll send you a friend invite. Otherwise, just look for me when I'm playing, and go ahead and hop into chat and say if you're looking for someone to play with, and we'll get your name and get us connected to whatever thing we can get you connected to play with us. So, all right, I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Look for next we're going to be doing the let me see here. We are going to be doing a draft here in just a little bit of March of the Machines. We're gonna have to do this before the sign up ends here in about 2.5 hours. So I will see you guys then. You guys have a good one. Bye bye. Get on out of here.